Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak in Valley Cottage, New York. I'm joined by Ralph Sharega. He's up in Belmont, Massachusetts. Ray Clifford, who is the foundation of this podcast. Has laryngitis. I think he was probably yelling at the CJ Uzama for most of the game. But anyway, Ralph, how you doing? I want a quick hello that I'm going to spout off, and then you warp. But go ahead, Ralph. How are you?
There are plenty of people to yell at. Uzama certainly is one of the top three, but
Yeah,
you can have your choice.
yeah. But it's funny, Ralph, as the Jets lost 16-12 to the Las Vegas Raiders with a rookie fifth round draft pick quarterback who threw a winning touchdown pass to the Michael Mayer from Notre Dame.
Yeah, your guy. You loved him.
I
Yeah.
liked him a lot. And right over Whitehead, who is really it's no surprise. But, Ralph, it's funny. I'm watching a game, and you and me, we've had the same history. And I told you, and I text you that this feels like a loss. And I'll tell you when I knew that they were going to lose the game. The moment Zach Wilson stepped out by a quarter of an inch on that beautiful run, and they didn't score a touchdown, I said, they're
Well,
not
wait a minute. Well, you knew they weren't going to score a touchdown.
right.
They can't get anything in the
They
red
can't.
zone.
I said they're not gonna score a touchdown. They're not gonna win this game because they let an inferior team hang in there for the longest time. Where we had another game where our glorious defense that led up a couple of running plays, and they didn't wrap up Jacobs or whatever. But this defense is going to waste. And I'll tell you at what point do you have to say, Robert Saleh, the buck stops with you? You're not doing a good job. As everyone knows, and I know Ray doesn't like me to keep repeating it, I'm the biggest Zach Wilson basher. He didn't lose this game. And the reason why I'm a Zach Wilson basher is because I see this guy doing the same things wrong over and over again. He doesn't learn from it. And now I have to watch our head coach doing the same thing over and over again, not learning from his mistakes. He's in the third year. This team is undisciplined. They have penalties at the worst possible time. He does not know how to manage a clock. It was a fiasco at the end when they should have had some more time left on the clock. It was basic fundamental coaching where you tell the referees, look, ref, if the next play ends up in the middle, I want to call time. You got to prep these referees. Robert Saleh, I'm sorry to say, I like the guy, but he's got to be replaced because he's making the same mistakes over and over again. I am at wit's end, Ralph. I really am. And, as positive as I sounded after the Giants game, going through the schedule, I redid it. And we'll get into it later, but I don't see more than a couple of wins down the road. So go ahead, Ralph. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, a lot to say. I got a question from one of our loyal listeners, Matt Lewis, after the game. He said, why do the referees bother putting their yellow flags back in their pockets when the Jets are on the field? It's because it's just a stream of penalties, and there's no discipline, there's no accountability. That's the problem I have with Saleh. No one's accountable on that team. He's a hand holder. Nice guy, but he's a hand holder. Alan Lazard should not be on the field. The guy is a basket case. He fights every pass that's thrown to him, and he can't block. CJ Uzama should not be on the field. He can't block, so he's got a hold, and he doesn't give you hardly anything in the passing game.
One good catch.
Yeah, one nice play. I'm talking about over a period of games.
Right, I agree.
Ruckert should be there. He's a better blocker. Michael Carter, he's hardly on the field, and when he is, he's always getting a penalty. But these guys, he's going to just keep rolling them out and going with them, and I think he's going to go down in flames with that philosophy. And Zach Wilson. The bar is low for Wilson, so he played a good game relative to other Zach Wilson games. But someone said to me, Zach Wilson, other than the interception, Zach Wilson had a really good game, and that's like saying like the theater critics saying that other than Lincoln getting assassinated, it was a great night at the theater. You know,
How was the play? But besides that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's true. And again, I'm a huge basher. And look, I'll just I saw a quote from Rich Cimini towards the end of the game. He said the Jets are a poorly coached team right now. Too many penalties, 8 for 83. No discipline on offense. Poor play calling on offense. No feel for the game. Seems like they coach scared at times. The team is regressing, not improving.
Absolutely. When you think about it, I mean, the New York Giants are by far the worst team in football right now. They're horrible. And the Jets shouldn't have even beaten them 2 weeks ago with a third string quarterback who never even played it down. I mean, they should, they're going, they're in a spiral, a downward spiral. There's no question about it, Marty. You and I have been, you and I have been following this team for 55 years. And I got to tell you, from the middle of last year till yesterday, I've never found a Jet team, as aggravating as this. And that's saying a lot because for the most part, the bad Jet teams were bad and they had lousy players. They have some good players here. They should not be playing like this. And it really does come back to Salah. I mean, the buck does have to stop here. I've been a supporter of his, but I can't do it anymore. It's just indefensible the way this team is playing.
Ralph, the new mantra is all brakes, no gas. That's how we're.
I'm the one who gets the gas every night. Believe me, I got such agita. I can't even sleep at night after these late night games.
But Ralph, there just seems there are so many common sense things and personnel wise that they should be doing, like to you and me. And you touched upon one, Michael Carter. Besides getting a penalty, he'll drop a pass like every single game. And last game, and listen, I was not a fan of the Dalvin Cook trade, but for once he looked better breaking tackles than Breece Hall running. I would give him the ball more. If something is working, let it work. I don't get it. And with Michael Carter, I don't know why they don't activate this guy Izzy. I just have no idea why they don't do that. Besides that, it might have went under the radar. I just want to point out the special teams, the second half was awful. They're giving the offense or giving our defense a short field. I don't know what Xavier Gibson was doing fielding that kickoff where he had nowhere to go. It was just, we're in the hole every single time. But Ralph, these gosh darn penalties at the most inappropriate.
Never. I mean, this is a run that's been going on for a year now, and it's just ridiculous. It's getting worse and worse, not better. And like I said, he's not pulling guys off the field who keep who commit them all the time. And people, these guys have to realize that if you commit stupid penalties, you're not going to play. I don't know what else to say. And by the way, as far as penalties go, and I know we shouldn't be bitching about the referees, but Michael Clemens, he got clocked on a play that the Jets would have been called for a crackback. That was ridiculous. And and then you look at the play that the Huff on his knees, he just lightly grabs the guy's ankles and he gets called for that. Anyway, I'm not going to blame the refs for the Jets.
I'm not either, but there's one more I want to point out. I think they called it once, but for whatever reason, every single game, Jermaine Johnson is held so much.
Yeah.
It's just they just accept it. And Sal, you got to start playing the ref. And if it's not
exactly,
it's Jeff Herbert. You got to call him and say, hey, look, watch my number 11. Every game they hold him on every single play. And it's just frustrating. It just is very, very frustrating.
Yeah. One little kudo. Max Mitchell was not. He did a reasonable job. He wasn't getting help on every play, and he got beaten at times. And Zach Wilson was actually helping him out because he was avoiding sacks for the most part. I think in the pocket and running around behind the line of scrimmage, this is probably Wilson's best game using his legs. And I think the last play of the game, where
Unbelievable.
the Hail Mary, so the best play he's ever had as a
Unbelievable.
Jet.
What an athlete. And
Yeah.
again, we always said we never questioned his athletic abilities. It was above the neck, but he was phenomenal in that play. And
It was a perfect pass too. It really was there, you know.
and Uzama, you can't blame him, but he went over there and he tipped it. Otherwise, who knows? Maybe Garrett Wilson would have had it. Speaking of Garrett Wilson, I could understand, Ralph. He was on the sideline. They were applying something, his throwing arm, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't look good. He was wincing. And then like a play or two later, he's in.
Yeah.
And the second best play of the game. It would have worked, but he couldn't throw. I don't know if Salah knew it or Hackett knew that he was off the field, but they still let him pass. Something like that. If you ask a player, he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good." They're never going to admit they can't throw it.
I know.
That
I don't know why
he was open.
Yeah. Oh, he was wide open. Of course, it was Lazard, so he might not have caught it, but he was also wearing those thick gloves. I mean, for that play, he should have taken his gloves off. Come on. I mean, these little things. There was a lot of stuff there they left on the field. There was one to Lazard on the other side of the field that Wilson overthrew him by about 5 yards. Because, the thing about Wilson, he's got a strong arm, but he has no touch. We know that. Right. And he just throws everything on a line. And that one, he needed to put some air under. And that was going to be either a long run or a long play or a touchdown, too. Garrett Wilson, he had some good numbers, but he didn't have a great game.
He drops too many passes. Not only does he drop too many passes, he doesn't catch them clean enough. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if he's anxious just to start running, but he's got some flaws in his game. He's an unbelievable talent, and he can be a great player. But he's got to work on a few things.
If you notice, both end zone passes, the one that was at the pylon earlier in the game where he had a cornerback and a safety surrounding him. He was a great basketball player. He can really leap. He was up there, and I was disappointed in that he let the ball come into his arms rather than extend and high point the ball. And I think he could have had a touchdown on that one. The Hail Mary, I felt the same thing, but you're right. I don't know if it was Uzama. Yeah, it was Uzama who deflected it, or Conklin, one of those two. But he out-jumped everyone else because he's got great timing and he's got great hops. But I like to see him really extend those arms as high as he can and catch it cleanly. Exactly what Michael Mayer did against Whitehead. Using his height and just grabbing it cleanly over him.
Did you mean hops or ups? But Ralph, I'm getting tired of Robert Saleh saying the same thing every single week. And if you say to me, what do you want him to say? I say, I'll tell you what I want to say. I'm tired of saying, listen, I don't want to hear any more. Zach is close, and so is the offense. I don't want to hear that. Listen, I'm close to being a millionaire. I'm only 3 zeros away. You know that? I'm close to breaking the world's record for the 100 meters. I'm only 5 seconds away. You know that? I mean, I don't want to hear that. Every week we hear that. I'm close. I'm close. I'm close. I'm tired of that. And he's saying the same thing. What do I want to hear? I want him to get up there and say, listen, this is not acceptable. There's going to be changes made, and we're going to do it, and we're going to come out, we're going to do better. But this thing that, we're working on it, we don't have...
I had a nice talk with him. Yeah, it's like we're shooting ourselves in the foot. That's his line every halftime, when the halftime person comes up to him, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. How about anyone who commits penalties sits. Belichick yesterday, he benched Mac Jones at the end of the game. It didn't work, but he tried it. Ralph, and he said, he's ready to sit down. I can't, it's like, when is it going to happen with this guy? He just handholds too much, this guy.
That's a great example. I was going to bring that up in case our audience didn't know that Mac Jones threw a interception, and he ended up benching him. I guess it was the fourth quarter. He put it.
It was late in the game, and the game was still on the line.
And I guess Zappe tried the Dan Marino fake spike. Right?
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, and he threw an interception on that play. But again, at least he tried it.
Yeah.
You got to try stuff. At least the Jets tried that little flea flicker, It was open. It didn't work, but
Yeah.
at least you tried it. I was shocked that when the play was developing. Ralph, how do you like our 3rd and 1 compared to their 3rd-and-1 plays? We
You
can't.
know, their offensive coordinator was a nobody 2 weeks ago, and Antonio Pierce just said, "You're my offensive coordinator," and already he creative stuff. Really, that one where the quick handoff, really nice play. It reminded me a little of what the Giants did to the Jets when they scored the touchdown on that play, where it was a fake to Barkley and had everyone's. I mean, where
Right.
look, Hackett, he's a hack, Marty. He really
Yeah.
is. He's a hack. But I'll say one thing: they are throwing the ball downfield a little more now, which is helping. But it's not enough.
They can't get, besides Garrett Wilson, they don't have these soldiers. I mean,
Well, they have no receiver, but Gibson, they need to work out.
Gibson, I would do. He dropped a pass early, but you got to throw him the ball, which is good.
Absolutely.
And I guess Malik Taylor would get in, but I think you're going to have to activate Brownlee.
I think Brownlee or even Irvin Charles, just try someone.
Get
like
them in there.
Like I said, Lazard's mental state, he's a mess now.
It's Ralph, but I think a lot of it is, what we were talking about the last show, that look, Aaron Rodgers is holding this team hostage. And it's just not fair. It's not fair, and that's not fair to the head coach if that's what's going on. He's got to be able to make these personnel changes, and I just don't understand why he doesn't do it. It doesn't make sense. The offense is like they're going backwards. They're the biggest joke in the NFL.
And they look at the color guys like Aikman and Collinsworth. They're basically making fun of them. Last night it was another penalty, and Collinsworth was going same old Reds, and they deserve to be laughed at because attributed to Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. This has been going on for a year now with Wilson and this offense, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse, which is scary.
Ralph, the reference to Einstein, that's all I heard all day on the radio from Jeff.
Yeah. Really?
Everyone knows, Ralph, you had texted me and I saw it. You had texted that Sauce, he shied away from Jacobs.
Yeah, boy. I don't like, this is not a very PC thing to say, but he tackles like a girl, that guy.
You better watch it. You're going to have to come out with an apology like Troy Aikman. Yeah, he's not. And again, my theory that his age, he was a good tackler in Cincinnati. But my theory, go ahead.
Yeah. He, in certain situations, he'll tackle when he's got a shot to go for the legs. If a player's coming right at him like a locomotive, he doesn't like that at all. He shies away. And, Jacob's a handful. There's no question about it. But that was kind of embarrassing. I'm almost glad that they didn't show it on replay. They showed the end of the play where he fumbled on replay. Speaking of fumbles, Ashton Davis, that dude makes things happen out there. I want him on the field all the damn time. There's another example of let's try something else for Christ's sakes.
I was shocked. I saw a stat that he was in only 11% of the plays or something. It reminds me of the Jets had a player a number of years back, and I think 1.5 seasons, I was looking at the number of turnovers he was involved in. Do you remember Dwight Lowry?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He besides fumble recoveries and stripping and interceptions, he had a year. He was unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, he showed that in college. He was a corner in college, but he wasn't fast enough, and they made him a safety in the pros, and he just had a feel for it. He had a pick six in one game when he was there with Favre was there, I believe. And he went to another team and did pretty well.
We've been saying that we want, and we all wanted him cut, but without a doubt, whatever it is, whatever he drank, whatever trainer he had, he's a different ball player this year. And we want him on the field. And that's another, I don't understand the personnel moves by this coach.
They get locked into these guys. They fall in love with them, like Tony Adams and White, and they pigeonhole this guy as just a special teams guy. And
Tony Adams, go ahead.
Go on.
I was just going to say Tony Adams, except for that interception in the Eagle game, he's been a kind of a disappointment to me.
He's had a few good hits. He's come up quickly on some, but in general, he's been really mediocre. And I'm just hoping that he's learning how to play, because they protected him so much in preseason. He's going to take him 2 years to make up all that he missed.
Right, you're right. And Ralph, you know who continues to play at a high level? CJ Mosley. And again, I thought he
Yeah.
was like overrated and done, but this guy had 14 tackles. He was
What happened to him last night when he had to go into the 10?
it was undisclosed, but according to Salah, if he had to come back, he would have come back. Like if they took the lead or something, and he said he was prepared to come back. So I, you know, I didn't hear anything else. Just going.
Sherwood actually wasn't bad last
Yes,
night.
I was just going to tell you that he was
Yeah.
not bad. I don't know if Quincy Williams made some nice plays, but I'm starting to see he made one nice play, knife right
Yeah.
through again.
Right. Yeah.
But he's not. I don't want to say he's on a slump, but he had like 3 or 4 good games.
His last 2 games, he's just been, okay. He's been solid, but he hasn't been spectacular like he was ever since he got the award. I guess he's
Right.
Just like his brother, ever since he got the contract. Although I thought Quinn Williams actually played quite well
He did.
last
He
night.
did.
Yeah.
We can't put down the defense.
No, not at all.
And you pointed out last show, Solomon Thomas has been playing better, and John Frank Myers is
very good. People I hear want to trade John Frank Myers. I think they can get something for him. I want to keep him. I think he's a really good player.
Yeah, and what's his name? Will McDonald. He was not. He was a scratch because he.
Lawson played, and he was almost invisible.
Yeah,
he's really lost anything he had.
Yeah, he did nothing. And I saw DJ Reed. He fanned on a tackle.
Yeah, that was tough.
But but you're right, Jamie Sherwood. He's credited with 5 solo tackles, 2 assists. It was the first game, and we've been on his case.
For
a long time.
Well, it's interesting that he played a lot. I think because they knew that they were going to run the ball all the time, because they usually just go with 2 and then 5 defensive backs.
I thought Tippmann played well. I thought Becton didn't.
Becton, he's not coming back next year.
He's just so consistent, and he's got
the best thing about Becton is that he's been durable this year. That's so ironic because he hasn't really, his play has been mediocre or a little below that. He got turnstile a couple of times. Of course, Wilson had his daily strip sack, but that was on Becton too. But as Collinsworth pointed out, he had way too much. It was his clock should have gone off in his head. It was just a slow thought. And speaking about Wilson, that interception by what's his name? I forgot the guy's name.
Spillman or
something like that. Spillman. If you watch that play they showed it from the defensive behind the defense in the end zone shot. Wilson is totally locked on to Lazard, and you can see that the linebacker is totally locked into Wilson's eyes. And all Wilson had to do was take a quick glance the other way and freeze that guy. 2.5 years, he doesn't even have that subtle thing. It's just unbelievable. And then on the other end, if you watch the play again, Lazard is really lazy about it.
Oh, my God. Make an effort. Jeez, this guy is he's just off. I can't stand him. I really can't stand him. Again, look, I've been on Zach Wilson's case for 2.5 years. He was not the reason they lost, but again, fundamental stuff that he should be doing, he's just not doing. I do not think, again, I want to go on record, I don't think the Jets should bring him back for the Jets' sake and for his sake. Now, Ralph, not to jump all over the place, but I was doing some investigating. Right now, according to, I guess, Over the Cap, the Jets have draft picks in the 1st, 3rd, 2 in the 4th, and 1 in the 6th.
Oh, so they don't have are those include the compensatories?
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm not at that what I saw. I've seen a couple of different ones.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's not according to Over the Cap. The following is according to Over the Cap, they're projecting a comp pick in the 6th round and 2 in the 7th.
Oh, that's all? Really?
They went through the signings of, whoever it was, Mike White and whatever. Yeah, that's what they're projecting. So we'll have to see from there. And again, I've been on record. I'm going to say it again. I don't care. With those first 5 picks, I'd get quarterback in the 1st round, quarterback in the 4th round. The other 3 draft offensive linemen. I'm just so tired of this. I just really am. And I know people will say, well, you got to draft wide receivers, but give me a young, fast guy. I mean, who remembers the wide receivers from all those Tom Brady teams? When he had the big name wide receivers, except for Edelman, they never really won a Super Bowl. They never won a Super Bowl with Wes Welker. They never won a Super Bowl with who's the tall receiver from Minnesota?
Randy Moss.
Randy,
Yeah.
who I think is the best receiver I ever saw. Then he always did it with no names too. So you got to focus on the offensive line. And again, I would get not one but two quarterbacks. I love Penix. He had another great game. He made a big mistake, but just so you know, I was watching the highlights. He ended up doing like a bootleg for an 8-yard run. He looked great on that. He outrun the players.
I like Bo Nix. I'll tell you, this guy.
Oh, Nix is looking good.
Man. And Auburn, they let him transfer, and they got a kid from Michigan State who's terrible. So I don't know what they were thinking. There's enough quarterbacks. Yeah, it'd be nice to have that second round pick, but maybe they'll trade someone for a second round pick.
Yeah, and Ralph, not to this is a Jet show, but I just want to mention. I wish there was some way they could get both Oregon and Washington into that play.
I know, yeah.
Those are the two most exciting teams, and there's another team. I'll be honest with you, they'll never get in. They're way down, but I don't know if you've seen any of LSU highlights with Jaden Daniels and this.
Jaden Daniels, yeah.
Yeah, and this guy, Neighbors, Malik Neighbors, the receiver's unbelievable. And Daniels had gone to ASU, but
that's right, yeah.
But anyway, back to the Jets. Ralph, what's your feeling about the Jets hitching their wagon? Forget about this year to Aaron Rodgers for next year. I mean, what do you see as the prospects now?
Well, like Ray was saying last week, we're wasting our defense. Maybe we have 1 or 2 more years left, and I'll take 2 more years. I'll take if we can get one, but if they can play like they're doing this year, next year, then I think it's worth it to hitch your wagon to Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, they're going to have to shore up the offensive line. We're going to get some people back. I would say, yeah. Like I said, Marty, if Aaron Rodgers had been here from the start, I think they'd be in the hunt, for the playoffs with him. Their defenses, they're in every game except the Dallas game. The San Diego game, they were in that game. There was a bad punt return. And Wilson's fumble pass, whatever it was, which was basically running for a touchdown, so that they had control of that offense too. So yeah, I think they probably would be. What are they? 4-5 now. Yeah, I think they'd be 6-3 or 7-2 now with Aaron Rodgers. I really do. Yeah. So yeah, I would take a shot with 1 more year. Considering what they've invested in him, draft pick wise. And I think they will. Are they going to bring back Wilson? I don't know.
No, they won't. They can't. They just
said that last year, though. You said that last year.
Say it every year, Ralph. Somebody wrote me a note, and I haven't noticed, but they have what's Eccles' first name?
Brandon
Eccles as the gunner. They said he's awful. I don't know. Have you noticed that?
I have. No, I haven't. I haven't been watching. Morstead's kicks have been. He kicked a couple that were.
Yeah, he expected to bounce back, but it did. It went in the end.
But he kicked 1 or 2 that were overkicked this coverage. I was worried because you could see the guy caught about 15 yards of cushion, and that was one of the ones that got burned on. So I don't know who's Eccles playing for Hardy? Is that the deal?
Well, Hardy's out on the injury. I guess Herb Charles, he had replaced me. He did good as the first game replaced him. I don't know what's going on. Was he active?
I'm not sure. Doesn't Ashton Davis play gunner?
I'm not sure. I would try him because he's fast.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
And he's a pretty aggressive tackler. Yeah,
but the teams are getting their field position is too good.
Yeah,
if it's Eccles, you can't keep him there. I mean, Brent Boyer? Is that his name?
Brent Boyer. Yeah,
the special teams coach. He's got to change that up. It's just not working out. I don't know.
It was funny because the field position was really the only chance the Raiders had. I mean, this quarterback, I give him credit for having heart out there, but he's not very talented. And after watching like the first quarter of the game, I just said to myself, they should eat this team alive. This guy can't hurt them.
No, and
He made one play. He made one play, which
that
is
was it.
one more than Zach made. The one play. It was and he, he's not very quick in the pocket, and he doesn't have a great arm, but he, for some reason, he avoided everyone and tossed
Right,
one
right.
just where it was supposed to be.
Antonio Pierce did us a favor on that third down by passing. And
Oh yeah,
Jermaine Johnson, if he was just a little bit, it was a tough thing. He batted down, but if
yeah,
somehow he could have caught that,
yeah.
that was our only chance to win the game. As it
Yeah,
turned out.
apparently we're gonna have to score some defensive touchdowns because
Right.
what's the over under on what game we get our first legitimate offensive touchdown on a drive,
I don't know, but Ralph, let me just do this because I'm maybe we should save it for our preview show with Ray. We'll do that. I was going through the schedule. We'll save it and we'll go over because I'm doing like a complete mea culpa from what I did, from what I'm seeing. I just don't see that many wins down the road.
Well, Marty, here's the thing. This is why I hate when schedules come out and people start saying we have a tough schedule, we have an easy schedule. Suddenly Houston and Cleveland are not easy
Oh yeah,
games now.
yeah.
It's things change so fast in
Right,
that league.
right.
I mean, I don't even know if they can beat the Patriots at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. You're right.
Atlanta, that's it. Everyone else,
That's it.
twice Miami, Buffalo, they're in trouble.
They're in big trouble. And it's funny you mentioned about looking at the schedule. Now, when people look at the schedule, I see the Jets on. What are they saying?
Yeah, exactly.
They say that's a win. Yeah. All right, Ralph, we're going to wrap it up. And listen, it's a rough one. It really was a rough one.
Brutal.
Rough 2 weeks. I want you to stick around. The fans love you, Ralph. I get notes all the time. So, and by the way, they mentioned you at that high school dinner that I was at too. They said Ralph adds a lot to this. He said that, and one guy said he's the reason why I listen.
He's blowing smoke up me. He wants me to
No,
stick
no,
around.
no. And I'll tell you, someone else gave you a compliment. Steve Albert.
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah,
Steve's a great guy. I remember our talks up in Cortland. That was a lot
oh,
of
he's
fun.
great. Steve's great.
Yeah. Buffalo. I mean, I think they're going to get their asses kicked
So do
next
I.
week. Buffalo's an angry team. They've been disappointing this year, and we thought they'd split with Miami. Maybe they will, maybe, but I don't think so.
I don't think they're going to split with them. I just don't see it.
See, the problem is by the time they get Miami, their defense is probably going to be discouraged, and they could get run past by those speed guys. It's that game last night. There's nothing worse than losing a game to a team like that you're so superior to, and I don't say that too often about the Jets. And the same thing with the Giant game. The Chargers game. The Chargers were a better team than the Jets. I expected them to lose that game, not that way, but last night, oh man, that team. Antonio Pierce. I wish him all the luck in the world, but I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's in over his head. Is Garoppolo healthy? Did he just actually sit him for this guy?
He did.
I'll tell you something. I'm not a Garoppolo fan because he's so fragile. But boy, I'd much rather play against Aiden O'Connell than Garoppolo.
Well, it's funny, Ralph. I just made a list right before we went on the air. Some quarterbacks. C.J. Stroud, rookie year, and I'm just talking about yesterday. He had a touchdown pass. Josh Dobbs, who's been in the league a little bit.
Josh Dobbs, what a story that is.
He had a touchdown pass.
Could the Jets have gotten him?
6th-round pick. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying when Arizona wanted to dump him. Everyone knew it.
Saying they could have, but I don't know. And now
he doesn't want anybody. They just want Zach.
Yeah, they refused a phone call from what's his name, Wentz.
Wentz, yeah.
And then, part of my list, in his first year starting, Jordan Love threw 2 touchdown passes. Tyler Heineke, a backup, threw 1 touchdown pass for Atlanta. Tommy DeVito threw 2 touchdown passes for the Giants. Sam Howell, my guy, threw 3 touchdown passes. They lost to Seattle. And all this, and Zach Wilson, we can't get a touchdown. Can't throw a touchdown pass.
Marty, I was watching Red Zone at a restaurant before the Jet game, and I'm just seeing these long plays left and right, and I'm thinking the Jets. I mean, they should be wearing leather helmets with Bronco Nagurski's number on it. It's like we're watching the Chicago Staleys in the 1930s.
I want to say this. I don't want to say I told you so, but you and Ray laughed at me because when you both were giving, or you were giving a scouting report on Zach Wilson, I had said to you, and I think I said this with Sam Darnold. I always say that. I said, can he hit a guy in full stride perfectly? And you laughed at me. Like, of course he could. But
Marty, I'm telling you, I watched every one of Zach Wilson's passes in college, back from his freshman year on when he took over in the middle of the season. And the guy is 18 for 18 in his first bowl game. I mean, really squeezing him in. I don't know what's happened to the guy. I really think that because the game is too fast for him, his mechanics, and he's just too twitchy and everything, like Collinsworth said, in college, you got 3.5 seconds to throw. In the pros, you got a little over 2. And that difference, he just can't handle.
Can't handle it. And Ralph, you just point out what a crapshoot that, drafting quarterbacks are every single year. And, I was telling someone, remember what they were saying? They were saying about the quarterback class this year. And I said, well, hold on to your horse.
Every
I
year.
said, I remember Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, best quarterback class in the history. Remember that? And
of course I remember it. And the Zach Wilson one was great too. And it's been an absolute disaster except for Trevor Lawrence. And here's the question, Marty, because I think having a rookie defensive coordinator take over as head coach and a rookie quarterback is a bad combination. It just doesn't work. Now, I think Trevor Lawrence is better than Zach Wilson, but I think if he was on the Jets from day one, he would not be the quarterback he is today. Doug Peterson knows what he's doing. It means a lot. And obviously when what's his name? The guy that San Francisco drafted, Lance.
Yeah.
He's a bust. Mac Jones is a bust. I think Fields is a borderline bust. I think Chicago's got a really tough decision whether they're going to whether they go with him or not. Obviously, the Patriots and the Jets are going to give up on these guys. But when you got a guy like Field, it's like, do we keep him or not? They had the first pick last year. They probably would have picked Bryce Young, who's been a disaster. But we don't really know if it's him or the organization, which is a really bad organization. So,
well, I'll close this out by saying, because a lot of times Ray will come back to me, like when I say replace the offensive coordinator, replace the coach, I'll say, well, who are you going to replace him with? But again, I would draft in the first round Michael Penix, the second, I think it is, from Washington. Every time I do the draft simulator, he's available. He's got a history of injuries, but I love the guy, his release. He hits guys in stride.
He's a lefty, isn't he?
He is a lefty. And the fourth round, forget his, I think it's Pratt, this quarterback from Tulane.
Bruce Pratt from Camp Willoway.
Bruce Pratt, yeah. I would draft Pratt from Tulane in the fourth round. That's my plan. Those are the names I'll throw out there. So for Ralph Schrager in Massachusetts, Marty Schupak in New York, and hang in there, Jet fans. We've been through this. Ralph has committed for the next 2 weeks at least. So for you fans, he will be with us. So
well, you said Buffalo. I commit through Buffalo. Marty's, he takes me 1 week at a time. I know the psychology here.
The reason why I know you'll be there for Miami, because that's on Black Friday. So I know
right. I have to be at Walmart at midnight, so I don't know if I'll be.
You don't leave the house that day. You're like me. All right. So for Marty Schupak, Ralph Schrager, and also Ray Clifford, who will be here later in the week for our preview show and Jets Rewind. Until next time.